Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex. Today we're taking a look at my favourite Switch deals coming in under $10 or your local currency, and here I cover the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia. This one, it's a decent if not groundbreaking week for deals on the eShop. It's for sure got an indie focus as well, so with that hit subscribe, join us here for reviews and deals near daily, and let's get started. First then, if you are grabbing anything from the sale, consider using cornershop.gg for your eShop credit. You'll receive 10% off using a code CORNER at checkout. They are going to be instant email delivery, so everyone wins. Then, just a quick heads up, I am going to be moving house a lot quicker than I expected as well, and next week in fact. So in the next couple of weeks, let's say the content might not be the frequency you are used to from the channel. It should be back to normal right around September the 13th, and I already have a few videos ready to go out live next week. Aerial Knights never yield. Then to kick us off, it gets a new low price here with 40% off on the gameplay. Think here a rhythm based auto runner, meaning you'll be controlling jumps and slides, fighting what is increasingly frequent obstacles. It tries to mix things up with a story, doesn't quite deliver. Honestly, it didn't make much sense to me, but I still had fun, and the world is absolutely unique and stylish in its design. Where it did, however, fall short for me outside of the story, it's the end game. It has some frame rate drops, and some of the locations, they do become a little too repetitive, like you're almost running laps. Overall, although this is a fair price, and it's worth knowing, it has a killer soundtrack that everyone should hear, even if you do not pick up the game. My full review, you'll find it in the pinned comment down below. Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX, and it got some mixed opinions, but it promised to be a rebuild of a classic, and that for me is what it delivered. It's incredibly challenging, as it should be. That's what the game was known for, and look, sure, it can be frustrating down to that, but it's a key example of why we used to punish ourselves and go back over and over in, the 8-bit, 16-bit eras. An action platformer, though it respects the source, absolutely. I love the new visual style myself, but they are optional, and it will demand a lot from you, so do prepare to practice. It's matching the low price, and that is a 65% off, and my full review, you'll find it in the pinned comment down below. Foreclosed gets a new low price, then 75% off, and this it felt like a good one to shout out, as we just saw the release of Anno on the Nintendo Switch today. It is a cyberpunk adventure. You'll find my reviews for both in the pinned comment down below. This, though, it just might be a good option for those that want cyberpunk, but let's say a little more action-packed. It's definitely not as good, honestly, you'll see that in my video, but it's a third-person shooter. Occasionally it has a wonky camera. There's a story that falls a little flat around them, basically recollecting after you go into debt, and this is based upon the implants you have. And then there's a difficulty that's somewhat exaggerated by what is bullet sponge enemies. At the same time though, there's no question it looks good, and a price drop like this, it can make problems a lot easier to digest. Basically, check it out potentially, but watch a full video or two first, just to make sure you've got a good grip of what to expect. Deiland Pocket Planet Edition then is a good one to bring up here. It received a mixed opinions. I fell into the camp that enjoyed it. See my full review in the pinned comment, but I know for many it didn't do enough. See SwitchUp's review, for example, as a good counter opinion. One thing is for sure though, it's much better than their first Switch release that was Summer in Mara, and that game was just an absolute disaster. The gameplay here though, you're essentially monitoring and managing a small planet with visitors occasionally. There's a few moments off world as well, but then it's kind of a lot of farming, exploration and light construction. It's a game all about relaxation over anything else, and that is how I treated it, just an hour here and there. It's going to be matching the low price then, that is 55% off. Gore then is a solid little indie gem. It's a new low price for those in the UK, EU and Australia. It's matching then in the US and Canada, and that's going to be 60% off. It's a shmup though with a dash of roguelike and bullet hell as well. I'm thinking here vertical scrolling, and basically you're trying to descend what is the levels of hell. Each enemy though killed rewards you with coin, which can then be spent on upgrades for that next run. It's packed full of enemies, high scores, power-ups and online leaderboards. It's also randomized, making each run unique, which is definitely a nice touch, especially, when you factor in that low price point. windbreaker then while I'm on classic arcade style gameplay, and this is centers around the Sacred Symbols podcast team, which honestly I'd never heard of, but I really like this game. It's basically a spin on the Brickbreaker format where our bar is now a spaceship and we are on the hunt for a missing NASA spaceship. It can be played then in single player or local co-op as well, and you'll be facing 40 story levels. Where it gets real or unique though, you actually control both ships, one with each stick, so it's a lot more action packed, and it's rounded out then with boss encounters, multiple modes including shooting blocks and a hockey mode. Then finally there is New Game Plus as well. It's a decently sized package, this one, for a budget price point, 75% off, and that is also for the game a new low price. Depth of Extinction then I feel is a little underknown in regards to the Nintendo Switch, but I like to give it a shout out. It's a new low price here, 72% off, and it's a tactical RPG, definitely dialing up the difficulty even further though with some roguelike aspects. But think here, the world has been flooded, and to make things even worse, there's killer machines out to wipe out humanity. Your job basically defend the last instance of government that we have by putting a squad together. It's all going to be about options here, this one, 10 classes, 115 weapons, armor, items, tons of enemies to face off against, stealth abilities, and even a somewhat open world in its design. Unsouled then, I'd consider this more a join me if you like. Basically, I haven't actually finished it, I do want to put that out there, so I can't give a fuller statement on it. What I've seen though after a few hours, really liking, and I do need to get this wrapped up and drop a video because I can't seem to find much in the way of information surrounding this Switch build, so I do think it would be a good one for everyone to see. I'll be aiming to actually drop this one next week as well when I'm all sorts of busy with my house move. So far though, I'd describe it as an old school looking experience, you know, heavy pixel work, but the animations and the core gameplay, that's going to be leaning more into the modern with an action RPG design. Quickly complicates the control scheme as well, as you'll be dashing, attacking, all sorts, and I really like the fact the attacks often are ways to, you know, traverse this world as well. It is difficult as well, I want to say that from the very opening moments, but it does pack at least 3 difficulty options if that doesn't sound like your thing. It even has a few endings too, supposedly. You can actually complete the first ending in around 3 hours, but they do say keep digging for more and you will find it. Our penultimate game then, Cathedral, it's back on sale at 50% off. Recently picked up the physical of this one at the Game On Expo here in Phoenix. Be linking that video down in the description below, but it's another old school style experience with stunning pixel work. But this, it's a Metroidvania, so it's all about really exploration and then uncovering that next path. With some really fun boss encounters though, items, buffers, minor puzzles even. I think it's an absolute winner. The platforming as well, it gets really creative with dashes and environmental pieces that you can interact with. It almost gives me an air of, at times, think Shovel Knight. Just be warned, an extremely difficult game as well, so do not come here if you're looking for something that's a little bit more on the chill side. The bosses in particular can be brutal, and its story then, it's all about recovering lost memories. Alwa's then to close us out, it's another Metroidvania. It's the second entry we've seen on the Switch, but this one steps things up in nearly every department. I love the new visual style though, in particular, just really clean looking. Also some great animations to reinforce that as well. It is the usual, you know, free exploration, but I just really like the skill tree. You can actually shape the lead as you please, maybe a little more than you're used to in the genre. For me, for example, it was leveling up the ability to be a little more, let's say, all out. Gets challenging again as well, but not as hard as Cathedral. And then story, we do play as Zoe in the world of Alwa. We've lost our memory and we're tasked now with delivering a mysterious book. Along the way then, we'll be filling in the blanks in our memory, and you can probably see already it's going to be a great counterpart to Cathedral. This one's just a really fun game though over anything else, and it was a pleasure from beginning to end. It's matching the low price then, this one, Alwa, and it is 50% off. And that is the video down. Will you be adding anything to the library or holding onto that cash? With that then, like, hit subscribe, but join us here for reviews or deals near daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.